Former First Lady Melania Trump is speaking out on the assassination attempt of her husband, former President Trump, and she is demanding answers on why law enforcement did not stop the threat sooner.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
Well, while she is speaking out, I also want to play this right behind the former First Lady. It's Donald Trump speaking with Mark Levin and recounting how both Melania and his son Barron found out about the attempt to assassinate him.
Well, she was watching it on television, and Barron was outside having a tennis lesson. He's a good tennis player. He's outside playing tennis, and somebody ran up, "Barron, Barron, your father's been shot." He went, he loves his father. He's a good kid, good student, good athlete, actually. And he ran, "Mom, what's going on? What's going on?" She couldn't believe it. She was actually watching it live. Can you imagine?
No, I actually can't imagine. Jason?
No, I think she's right. I think, she has her own way of communicating, putting it out there, but they have been so tight-lipped, the Secret Service, and they have a culture of deception that has to be in context here. So why was this person allowed to get on the roof? He wasn't stealthy. He didn't do something really creative. I mean, he got up on a roof, a white roof, and then the deception that's been out there from the Secret Service director saying, oh, the pitch was too big. I think she has a lot of questions. I think America, a lot of questions, yes.
Yeah, Kimberly Cheadle, who resigned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily, when you look at that video, it is really the first time that I can remember, that I know of, that we've heard directly from the former First Lady.
Which I think conveys just how deeply she cares about this, how serious she is taking this. We know her voice joins millions, and including a unanimous, unified Congress and Senate who are demanding answers from Secret Service leadership as to how this happened and how we can prevent it happening again. And I will say that as the former First Lady, discusses her experience, and as Donald Trump, as the former president, fleshed out, what that was like, there's a cause of action for vicarious trauma, right? It exists when people watch their loved ones, when terrible things happen to them. The whole point is that the law sort of provides and accounts for that horrible trauma that occurs when you witness something terrible happening to a loved one, and the trauma that she suffered is real. I mean, I can't imagine that. Yeah. So just taking a moment to acknowledge that her pain is so real at seeing that, and the fact that her pain is now made worse by a failure to have any answers.
Yeah, I want to come back to you on that one point, Emily. Some people are saying, well, why did she not speak up more, speak up sooner? Somebody has to process this. Like, I meet people in the grocery store, I meet people across the country who talk about it. Do we know why it had to happen that way? And they're angry and hurting. This hurts the whole country, what happened to a former president. Doesn't matter politically who that person is, but it hurts us. And if he's killed in that moment, we've had that happen in this country before. It breaks us. So take all the time she needs to grieve and to rejoice that he made it.
Absolutely. As we speak, it's September 11th. Like, an attack on one is an attack against us all. We all suffer. We all feel that pain. We all feel it deeply and then have a collective anguish for it. That is why, again, we were so united, and why Congress was unanimous in demanding answers, ensuring it doesn't happen again. So absolutely, she is safe and supported to speak whenever and however she wants.
Congress, as Emily points out, yes, looking and looking. And I know they can't talk about an active investigation, but they can put out a different statement as bystanders and witnesses have turned over more video and more information than we've gotten even a confirmation of from the FBI.
Yeah, there's a ton of questions, and Melania Trump's exactly right to pose them. The Mark Levin interview with Trump about Melania was so wonderful. That was the first time I had heard those details. And Trump goes on to say, you know, it was a miracle that my life was saved. It was 1/100th of a second when I looked this way. And now Melania is asking questions. I would, any wife would. I was appalled when I watched CNN and Maria Cardona, who worked for Clinton, was asked about Melania's statement. And Maria Cardona said, look, she's a wife and she's entitled to ask questions. She acknowledged that. But then she said, I think she, meaning Melania, is irrelevant, frankly.
Wow.
And it does kind of feed into conspiracy theories we have heard. I just wish we could put
What does that
tone
even
aside.
mean?
I wish we could hear Kamala and her acceptance of the nomination mention the assassination attempt. I wish we would have heard it on the stage last night. Tamp down rhetoric like that.
Well, that part, but just even a mention of it from the moderators at all. Donald Trump brought up the assassination attempt during the debate on his own last night. Watch.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy.
We came so close, Marie.
I mean, these last few months, capped off by such a I mean, it was a tragedy, of course, for the family of the person that we lost and for Donald Trump's family, who, as Emily said, is living through this every day still, because it's really scary. He's still out there talking to voters. And another person was injured. I think that we all have questions. We've talked about this so many times on this couch. I will address the conspiracy theories. There are a lot of conspiracy theories on Twitter and other social media platforms that are, I don't even want to repeat here because they are offensive. I'm not going to. But some of them today are using her statement to say maybe there's something that the government is hiding from us that's not just incompetence.
So she can't ask questions?
Kaylee, I didn't say that. I'm just saying, I'm answering the question. You said, what is the conspiracy theory? That's what she's talking about, and I find those conspiracy theories horrible, given what happened.
I asked what that meant in that context by the person you quoted.
Maria Cardona.
It wasn't necessarily necessary for the former president's wife to ask questions and for wider in America to ask questions is not only necessary, but if we don't push, who will?
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.